Hi everybody, I'm Jerry from Two Wheels and Barbecue. Today I'm going to show you how I make maple syrup mead. I know some people will say it's not actually mead or anything, but I'm going to try to use more honey than I do maple syrup today. So I'm going to do about 1.75 pounds of the honey and then 1.25 pounds of the maple syrup. Obviously, once it finishes, I'm going to come back and back sweeten with some more maple syrup. But this is how I'm going to get started. I've got my 1-gallon fermenter here. I'm going to turn on my scale and get that zeroed out. Well, I've got to put the funnel in there first, I guess. Okay, so now we're back at 0. So today I'm using just some Members Mark pure honey from, well, it says product of US, Canada, and Argentina. I got this at Sam's Club. So we're just going to start pouring this into my funnel until we get 1.75 pounds. Bear with me here. I know this takes a while, but all right, so there I have 1 pound, 12 ounces, which would be 1.75 pounds of honey. The goal is to get about 3 pounds, and I'm going to take a specific gravity reading once I have all the water. And so 3 pounds, sorry, 3 pounds of fermentable sugar. So it would be the honey and the maple syrup, and then water to up to a gallon. And then I'll take a gravity reading, and I'm hoping to be about 1.100 or 1.110, somewhere in there. And then I'll figure out the potential alcohol ABV with that gravity reading that I get. I'm looking to be about around 14% alcohol. So we're just gonna let this honey filter down through the funnel here. It's almost there. Then I'm going to go ahead and clear out my scale again, and we want 1.25 pounds of maple syrup. So 1 pound, 4 ounces. We're just about done here. All right, so this is some homemade maple syrup, like I said before, from my buddy Jonathan over at Up to Something Outdoors. Man, that smells nice. All right, so we're gonna start pouring this in. Hopefully, I have enough to back sweeten. There's 1 pound and 4 ounces. So 1.25 pounds. So a little more than half the jar. So it'll be good for later for back sweetening once it ferments out. So now we still got a bunch of stuff here inside the funnel here. I wanna get out because that was all part of the weight and everything. So what I have here is some black tea, just plain black tea. I think this is, I mean, whatever my grocery store had. I believe this is Bigelow black tea, but it's been steeping for about 5 minutes now here. So it's not hot anymore, but it's still warm. So I'm going to try to pour this into the funnel without making a mess. And this, so the water I use from this is out of this pitcher. So I filled this pitcher up to 1 gallon with Culligan water. I have well water here, so I didn't want to use the well water in it. So I started out with 1 gallon. So that way, when I'm done adding my water and everything, I'll know exactly how much water I added to this 1 gallon fermenter along with the honey and the maple syrup. Just so in the future, if I like it and it's great and I want to duplicate it, I can do everything to a T with the same recipe being that exact. All right, let's just spill in a little bit. There we go. Oh, and I forgot to mention, so before I started, everything that is going to be touching the liquid, the inside of this container and everything has all been sanitized in this 5-gallon container with Star San sanitizer. Just use the manufacturer's directions on the back of it. So everything you see here has been sanitized in this container here, soaked for a while, and then I pulled it out and let it dry out. So now that we have the honey and the maple syrup, so what you want to do, what I do is I have my little notepad here, so I can write on here Maple Mead, and then today's date, which is, I don't even know, it's a Saturday, February 1st. All right, so we're going to go 2/1/25. All right, so what did I add? I added 1 pound, 12 ounces of honey. And then I added 1 pound, 4 ounces of maple syrup. Okay, so now from here, what we want to do is add some liquid in here and start getting this mixed up. So I'm done for now with this funnel. So I'm just going to throw this. No, actually, I needed the funnel to add the water. So we will get that back out of there. All right, this is my first time doing it on film. So now we're just going to add water up about halfway. We don't want to fill out too much because then we're just going to shake it to add oxygen into the blend and to get the syrup and the honey all mixed together. That's a little more than what I wanted to add, but so then what I'm going to do is I have my bung for my airlock. Push that in there, put my thumb over the hole, and shake for a couple minutes here, so I'll probably be speeding this up. I still have honey on the bottom. And see it's starting to mix. And see the oxygen bubbles floating around in there. It changed colors from that dark brown from the syrup and the honey. So it's just getting nice and mixed up. All that oxygen in there bubbling around. And they would say oxygen is bad for mead. Well, yes, once it's already fermented and everything, you don't want to oxidize it. But at the beginning, oxygen is very important, especially to get the yeast to start colonizing. All right, when you think you're done mixing, mix some more. Okay, so from here, I'm going to add some more water. So on these fermenters here, they have a 1 gallon mark. And just to the bottom of this G, so you want to start cresting the round edge on here. And that's about what we're shooting for the finished product, well, start product of water. But I do have to leave some room because I still have my yeast pitched over here. I'm going to have to add that. So I added the black tea. Forgot to put that in there. So that is not for taste, it's mainly for tannins. So it's more at the finished end, you get a mouthfeel. So 1 cup of black tea. And we're going to add some more water here. And don't worry about the foam at the top. You're going to get that. It will dissipate, but on the initial startup, you do want to keep an eye on it. Make sure it doesn't bubble up through your airlock and everything. And if it does, it's not really that big of a deal. You can pull the airlock off, clean it out, put it back on. If it's really bubbling out, then you take a tube into the bung, a plastic hose, and then put it into a cup of water to have like a blow off valve, I guess you could say, so that way you're not making a big mess all down the bottle and everything. It'll all go into the glass. I haven't had to do that yet, so knock on wood that I won't have to do it on this one. So I've had my yeast pitched here for about 20 minutes now. So what I have here is LALVIN's EC-1118. Why? That's just what I have right now. And then also mixed in here, I did use some Fermaid-O, 2 grams or half a teaspoon. That's basically just a natural yeast food or yeast nutrient. I'm watching videos on YouTube and stuff. That's what they use, so that's what I've been using, and it seems to work just fine. I haven't had any issues. I try to keep my meads all natural. I try not to put any chemicals or anything in there. So at the end, after back sweetening and all that stuff, what I do is I'll pasteurize it instead of adding any type of chemicals to stop the fermentation. So this water that's in here came from this pitcher from the initial 128 ounces or one gallon. So that way it still will, we still will be able to calculate how much water we did use. So I am getting bubbles on here. It does look like, yep, the yeast are starting to work. So I'm going to pour this in through the funnel. Give it a little shake to get them all. So again, that was the yeast and the Fermaid-O in the water mixed up. So now I don't have to add much more water. I am just at the bottom of that, but I'm going to come up here probably up to the, I'm going to go halfway on the G on the 1 gallon marker on this. So right there puts me at halfway. So I did add more water. I did add the yeast and the yeast nutrients. So now I should be done with this funnel. So I'm going to rinse it off and put it back in the sanitizer. So now I'll take my bung. I'm going to shake it up some more. Add some more oxygen to it. That foam is starting to go down a little bit more, so that's nice. Put more oxygen in there. Take your thumb off. Alright, have that all mixed up. I have the water. It's just a little bit more than a gallon total of water and syrup and honey. I have 32. I have 40 ounces of water left in here. So we used 88 ounces of water total in here, along with the pound and 3/4 of honey and the pound and 1/4 of maple syrup. So now I want to see what my initial gravity is. I got to use my yeast. 1 pack of EC-1118 yeast. I used a half of a teaspoon of Fermaid-O. And I guess that's all that I put in there. So now we're going to get a gravity reading. So I have my graduated cylinder and then my hydrometer here. So what I'm going to do, just take the turkey baster here, squeeze it before I stick it in. At this point, it doesn't matter if you squeeze it because you can add the air to it and stuff like that. Later on in the fermenting process, if you're going to use a turkey baster, squeeze the bulb first, then stick it in the liquid and then release, because you don't want to start adding more oxygen to it after it's been fermenting. So again, this has been sanitized in the Star San bucket behind me. So again, like I said, I was shooting for 1.100 or 1.110. Smells nice, honey and maple syrup. Okay, so we are floating here. Give that a spin. So looks like I'm at 1.110. Exactly, yeah, so it's going to be up on the sweeter end. So we're going to start with starting gravity SG of 1.110. So we'll get the mead calculator out here. And we're going to go with, that's not the mead calculator. So click on the ABV. So initial gravity, we're going with 1.110. Then at the end, we're thinking it'll go down to 1.000. Could go farther than that, but if it goes down to 1.000, our alcohol content, ABV, will be 14.44%. So obviously that can vary up and down. So that's not bad. So what we're gonna do now is this all has been sanitized and everything. So what I'm going to do, just pour this right back into here, so we're not losing any product. Put that back in the sanitizer. So then I have my bung and my airlock. And what I'm going to do, just dry off the rim here, so the bung will fit in there nicely and hopefully not slide out. So push that in, and then the airlock. And what I do is I take the sanitizing solution and I fill up my airlock to the max lines there in the airlock. So you can see there's already some pressure building up inside there. So it's uneven. So for now, what do? We wait. So I will see you guys back in probably 2 to 3 weeks. See how this is doing. So thanks for watching. Sorry for the rambling, but I'm getting back into this, and hopefully we'll get better. So see you later.